So in today's session, we are going to see arrays in Python. Okay. Before moving further, I just want to hear from you. What is an array? Can anyone try? What is an array? Okay. Anyone else? How many of you remember the exercise we did in data visualization, where we are trying to find the correlation between number of hours studies and the marks obtained? Do you recollect that? The exercise we did in data visualization. Okay. If you recollect, we did that using a simple exercise, right? So array at many levels is like a table. Okay. Right. So we are going to see that in detail in today's session about arrays. Okay. As I said, array is like a table, right? An array is like a table. There are 4 different types of tables that are there in Python. Okay. Of course, there are other ways of developing a table and working on a table. Okay. We will see one by one, right? We also have something called as NumPy and Pandas, right? We will be seeing that in subsequent sessions. But in today's session, we are going to see what are the 4 different types of arrays, right? If you see, there are 4 different types of arrays. I have summarized it, in the form of a table. List is an ordered entity, right? What is ordered? Can anyone try to say? If let's say in a table, I say that the entries in my table, in the file are ordered, what does it mean? Sorry? There is a specific sequence, right? If I say ordered, I'll say that it is here that the first is, there is an order, right? If it is not ordered, means I can put it anywhere. Okay, so that is the first thing. List and tuple are ordered entities. Set and dictionary, they are not ordered. The second one is I have a file. Okay, is it changeable or not? Can I delete this Tom's record? You can't do that in tuple. Okay, does it allow duplicates? In list and tuple, duplicates are allowed. Set and dictionary, duplicates are not there. What is index? What is index? Starting of the array, in the order in which the array is there, right? That means I say that in this third row, okay, or serial number 3, I'm referring using a specific connotation, okay, and say that, Elias, the name Elias is there here, okay, index. I can access it because in a set you can't use an index. See, why we are having different things is because, to cater to different needs, okay. That's why we are having these different types. And how are they written? They are written using square brackets. Tuples are written using round brackets. Set is written using curly brackets. Same is the case with dictionary. You all know this, right? Square bracket, round bracket, curly brackets. Right? Just, this is like a simple table, right? Your school or college or your organization, yeah, okay, we'll be having this, right? We'll be having the records. If you want an array where you won't have duplicate, right? It can be for various reasons. Okay. You go for a set or a dictionary. You don't want the record to be changed. Then you go for a tuple. right? So when you want duplicates, you go for list or tuple. When you don't want duplicates, you go for set or dictionary. Okay, as I said, it is depending on the need. So this helps us to create different types of tables, which is nothing but records, right? All this could be stored in a database. Remember, we talked about database. We also talked of big data, right? So here we are all talking of structured data. So majority we are going to talk about structured data only, right? It's in more advanced sessions that we talk about accessing unstructured data. Do you understand? Okay. So arrays is an important concept. Okay. Because at the end of it, remember, we saw in pattern recognition, pattern detection, we are trying to identify patterns using some mathematical parameters, and those mathematical parameters are stored in the form of a table. The number of hours you studied and the marks you obtained, right? That is also a table, right? That's an array. You're trying to access the contents from that array and try to arrive at an output. Okay, so let's see how to create a list. See, I have created, just for you to understand, there is a list. There are three items here: red, green, yellow. Okay, if you notice in the array notation, the first one is called as 0. It is not 1. The second one is actually 1, and the third is 2. You don't start from 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You start from 0. This is the index that I was talking about. Clear? So how will you create a list and print it? Very simple. I call it as a sample list, right? I open a square bracket, red, comma, green, comma, yellow. And when I print it, I get it. Simple, right? Now, if I have another one, right? Red, green, yellow. And if I want to find what is there, if I want to print the third item in this list, see, I go and say print sample list of 2. 2 is nothing but the yellow, right? I can also come from reverse. Clear? I don't have to go only from the left. I can come from the right as well. So last item is -1. Penultimate item or the second last item is -2. Clear? I'm trying to access different elements. Only then I can process and arrive at an output. Okay. Now if I want to add an item, right? I have red, green, yellow. I'm trying to add black. All I do is use the command append, right? And if I want to insert an item as the second position, because the black, when I say append, it goes and gets added in the last, as the last item, right? But here I want to insert it in the second position, right? So I want to put it here, okay? So I am talking of sample list dot insert 1 comma blue. So when I print it, it gets printed. I can also remove an item. Clear? Sample list dot remove black. Black is removed. Simple, right? Append, you add, remove, it removes. Right? When you want to put it specific place, you use insert. Clear? Any doubts on this? Okay. If you want to delete a specific index or an entry, okay, you use del sample list of 0. And when you print, what you have before deleting is red, blue, green, yellow, because black is already, we added and we removed it, right? Now I'm removing the first item. Remember what I said, it is 0, right? That's how you are accessing it. And then you are printing blue, green, yellow outcome. Okay. You can also delete this entire list, right? You say del sample list. You don't mention this reference. The entire thing goes off. The entire thing goes off. You can also clear. That is, I just clear this. Okay. The sample list will exist, but it will not have any entity. It will not have any entries. It will be a blank list. Alternatively, you can even copy the list to another list. Right? See how I'm writing. I'm creating another list equals sample list dot copy. You can also copy specific items. Simple, right? Any questions on this? Very straightforward, very simple. Good. What is the use of hash? Right? I said this in the previous session. Right? Let me repeat it once again. The hash tells me what I'm going to do. Okay? I am writing it for my own reference. Whenever you write something with hash, whatever you write after hash will not be processed by Python. Okay? It will ignore. It will come straight to the del. Why we are having this? If you are writing, say, thousands of codes, if you are trying hundreds of things, okay, let's say you look at it after a month, you will not know what you have written it, right? It is for better organizing. Okay, it is a better way of organization of your codes. It is like you write some reference, in the notes, right? It is like when you're writing an essay at the start of when you're writing, say 10 pages, you will break the 10 pages essay into multiple chapters, right? And even within chapter, so you will give a title to the chapter, and even within chapter, you will give a title, right? Why? It becomes easier to read. Okay, so this is there as a reference for ourselves. Okay, please, and this is a best practice, as I said. Okay, this is a best practice. Please do it even if you become an experienced person. Okay, we tend to overlook it. That's because we feel, yeah, we can do it, right? What is the big deal? This is not needed, right? No one is holding you, uh, uh, and saying that you have to do it. We are doing it for ourselves. So I said it is a best practice, and there is a best way of organization of the code. Okay, yeah, and please do it. Okay, these are some of the basics. Some of the basics, and let's not miss the basics. Okay, as I said, I'm trying to delete a specific entry. This red is gone, and now it has become 0, 1, 2, blue, green, yellow, right? And this I am creating as another list. Okay, I'm just copying it and I'm printing also. Blue, green, yellow is what is coming. I'm removing from the sample list I removed red. Okay, what is there in 0? Okay, so print sample list, blue, green, yellow is what it comes. And I'm creating from sample list. This is the name that I've given for the list, right? Sample list. I'm saying another list. Okay, this I'm giving the name. Okay, you can even have it as another underscore list, or you can say sample list 1, depending on whichever you like. Okay, equals sample list dot copy. Clear? Okay, so far on list. So similar concept is there in tuple, right? See the bracket differs. Clear? Okay, this is written in different brackets, but accessing is using square brackets. Same concept. Okay, so here I have created sample tuple India, Singapore, Canada, right? Print sample tuple of 0, India is printed. -1, just like how what you saw in list, I can come from the last also in the reverse direction. That is, I can come from the right. First from the right. Okay, it prints India, Canada. Can it print the first two? We use the colon here. Okay, so note this. Can you tell me why Canada is left out? It says print 0, 1, 2. It printed only India and Singapore. Canada is left out. Can you note this? Normally, when you say, if you mention like this, the first one is included. What you mentioned in the last is not included. Okay. So please note this, when you write like this, Canada won't be printed. Clear? Clear? Any doubts on this? Yeah. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. I can't hear you well. Not very clear. Okay. Yes, go ahead. Yes. No, as I said, that's a good point, right? Sometimes you want to access from the right. Sometimes you want access from the left. Sometimes you want access from the right. It depends on the way you write it, right? Suppose I want to use this, okay, 0, 2. I know last will be left out. What will you do? I can use this minus notation. It depends on my need. See, you have a, yes, you're right. If you, instead of a minus, I can use 2 very well. I can very well use a 2. Sample, print sample tuple -1 is the same as print sample tuple 2. But as I said, there should be different ways of accessing my array, right? Because when I have a large record, I must have the flexibility to maneuver my data, right? So, which is why we have different ways of accessing the items, because I need to have that flexibility. It depends on my need, right? When you work in a large data set, what you're seeing, just 3 entries. Imagine when you're dealing with a large data set. So all these things matter. Clear? So why we are having -1 is another way of accessing. right? We want to have that flexibility. We want to have that maneuverability. Without that, I'll be constrained, right? A modern programming language should have multiple means to access, which is what we are doing here. Okay. So if you want to change in a tuple, okay, right? So what are we trying to do here? If you want to change something, remember a tuple is unchangeable, right? So we are converting tuple into a list first, doing the change, and then converting list to a tuple again. Remember I said my needs, right? Depending on my need. If I want to make some amendments, right? I can't do that in a tuple. Tuple doesn't allow that. So I convert that into a list. List allows me to change, right? I'm creating, remember, see, I'm using this notation depending on the way I want to write. Okay. Sample list equal to list of sample tuple. That's all. Now the list is converted. And now I am telling sample list 1 equals UK. Instead of Singapore, I am updating with United Kingdom. Right? And then I say I convert the list into a tuple. Sample tuple equals tuple brackets sample of list. Right? And then I am printing it. Clear? Because tuple doesn't allow that. Right? If I want to keep a record, I don't want any changes. So I will go for a tuple. Okay. If you want to store some records which should not be changed, go for a tuple. You can also print through iteration. Remember, we saw this iteration in the flowchart class, right? For x in sample tuple, print of x. It will go over 0, 1, 2. See, these are different ways. Just like how you have negative. This is a different way of doing it. Why we are having this? It depends on, because I want to have that flexibility, right? Because it depends on the need. When I have a large database, right? When I'm working on, I want to have that flexibility, which is why so many options are being made available. Okay. Even with all this, you will encounter a scenario where your hands are tied. Okay. That's very much a possibility. So, which is why, sometimes we go for creating our own functions, or we find a way. Okay. Sometimes you have to find a way to get out of the constraint, because the people who have created this program have thought through all of this. Probably you may encounter a scenario where they have not thought through, right? But you will still be able to work around. You have to take efforts, right? Please bear this in mind. So check an item and print. Okay. If you can see here, if Canada is in sample tuple, print Canada is there. It is going and checking if something is there. Okay. If Canada is there, imagine if you write the Canada with small c, will it recognize? Question, if I have written here with capital C, and if I'm going to say go and check for small c, will it work? What will be the output? It will not work, right? It will not work. That is because this is case sensitive, right? Here we are talking of a character. Okay. So once a tuple is created, you cannot add items to it. Tuples are unchangeable. To create a tuple with only one item, you have to add a comma. Okay, this is a restriction. Okay, otherwise Python will not recognize it as a sample tuple. Remember, we are not declaring this as a tuple. See this here. In old procedural languages, you have to declare, but in object-oriented programming, right, like Python, you don't have to declare it. The programming will recognize that this is a tuple based on this type of brackets. You can delete the tuple completely using del keyword. Right? You cannot clear it, right? Because they are unchangeable. So you cannot remove items from it. Once you have added, you cannot remove it. But you can delete the entire thing completely. Clear? Any doubts? So you can join two tuples using the keyword join and plus operator. Okay? You can join. You have created join. Open the brackets. Tuple 1 comma tuple 2. It will add. Okay, or you can use this plus operator. You can use the tuple constructor to make a tuple also. Okay, some of the things that are pre-built, the methods, count. It returns the number of times a specified value occurs in a tuple. Remember, we checked if Canada is there. Using count, we can check how many times Canada is there. Assuming Canada were to be repeated. Okay. Index, it searches the tuple for a specified value. Okay. It specifies specific value and returns the position of where it was found. It can go on search also. Remember, I want all these things, whenever I create. Okay. So much on tuple. Now let's move to sets. Remember, we saw 4 things, right? So this is the third one. We have seen a list, we have seen a tuple, now we are seeing set. Okay, this is the third one, we have one more. A set is a collection which is unordered and unindexed. Okay, unordered. So you cannot be sure in which orders the items will appear. You cannot go and say print 2. Okay, because you don't know what is going to be stored in 2 the first time, what is going to be stored in 2 the next time. Okay? You cannot be sure because there is no ordering. You cannot access items by referring to an index. That's what I meant. Okay, since sets are unordered, okay, the items don't have an index. So the index comes whenever you have an ordered thing. But you can loop through the set items using a for loop or ask if a specified value is present by using the keyword. Do you understand the difference? Do you understand the difference? What we are talking about? Okay. Now let's create a simple set. Okay. A sample set. Okay. Which is also simple. Yeah. Sample set equals, remember? Yeah. So what I just said is this is not ordered. That is the key thing. In the previous things we know it is ordered. We will see that using an example. Okay. So you will understand it better. Unlike a list and a tuple, set is not an ordered collection, right? Which means it is not indexed. See, for example, I can't say that sample set of 1 to print London because it is not ordered. Remember in the previous one we saw 0, 1, 2. Here it is not ordered. This is the way it stores. Okay. That's a type of array. If I say sample set of 2, it can print London, Chicago, Manila, or London. I don't know how it is stored. Do you understand? That's what I meant by it is not ordered. Okay. See, print of sample set, it has printed. It has not printed in this order. Can you see it? I said Manila, London, Chicago. It has actually printed Chicago, London, Manila. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's not ordered. Okay. Now for X in sample set, print of X. Right? Chicago, London, Manila. So happen it printed like this. It can print Chicago, Manila, London also. See here it is checking. Is print Manila in sample set? Print if Paris is in sample set. It is going and checking. See, this is a Boolean operator. We saw that, right? So it returns whether it is true or not. Paris is not there in the sample set and hence it says false. So to add an item, use the add method, but understand that it may go and put it anywhere it wants. To add more than one item, I use an update method. Clear? Okay. Why have this flexibility? Why have so many options? Because I may encounter such requirements, right? As part of writing the program, as part of manipulating the data. Okay, so which is why I have so many options. So what are the additional actions to remove an item? Use the word remove or discard. Okay, if the item to remove does not exist, keyword remove will raise an error. Whereas if the item to remove does not exist, discard will not raise an error. Okay, you can use the pop method to remove an item, but understand this will remove the last item, but we can't be sure what is that last item because sets are unordered. Do you understand? Clear method empties the set. The del keyword will delete the set completely. Understand? I hope you understand the sets, right? Set is a type of an array, an important type of an array. We have that flexibility. Okay. Clear? Let's move. Okay. What are the other actions that I can do? I can join the two sets, right? So first I'm just printing, right? Then I am sample set 200, 300, 400, right? Sample set 1. Sample set 2 is a sample set which is Chicago, London, Manila, right? Dot union of sample set 1. I use the keyword union. See here, it is not in any order. And when I ask you to print sample set 2 again, it may print in any order. Set is an unordered entity. Okay. Using the word update. If I use the word update, it excludes common entries. Okay. I am adding 1, 2, 3, 4 to 6. If I use the word union, the common entity 2 will appear twice. But because I used update, the common entries are excluded. It prints only once. If I had added union, I will have 6 entries. Because I have used update, which excludes common entries, okay, I have only 2 appearing one time. Okay, ideally it should be written as excludes duplicate entries. That's the right word. Excludes common entries, doesn't convey the complete thing. should be excludes duplicate entries, right? It's not like it is removing 2 completely. It excludes duplicate, not common entries. Okay, so 2 is appearing twice. Okay, 2 is appearing in the sample set 11, is a duplicate entry. Can you see it? The difference between union versus update. It can be an interview question. Someone going for an interview, right? What is the difference between union and update in a set? So you have to say that union allows duplicate, update doesn't allow duplicate entries. Clear? Can be a good interview question. Create new set using set method. As I said, you can create using the set. And this applies for list and tuple as well. Okay, you can create A, B, C, D. See this once again. It has not printed in the order. Okay. Can you see here? It adds an element. Clear removes all the element. Copy returns a copy of the set. Difference, it returns containing the difference between the 2 or more sets. Difference update removes the items that are also included in another specified set. Discard, it removes. Intersection, right? Intersection of the 2 sets. Intersection update, right? Pop, we saw that earlier as well. Removes an element from the remove, it removes the specified element. Union, right? Returns a set containing the union, update, we saw that. So there are different methods that are available in set. We will use it as and when it is needed. So the fourth and the last one that we are seeing in arrays is dictionary. Okay, dictionary is also unordered, but you can change it. Okay, in Python, dictionaries are written with curly brackets and they have keys and values. Okay, student dict, I'm just creating. Okay, name Storm, class is level 5, age is 10. Okay, and if I print, I will get like this. Okay. See, it is unordered. Okay, dictionary is unordered. Okay, so if I want to print name, I want to print age, I can do like this. Okay, and if I want to change, right, from level 5 to level 6, the class here, right, I can access, using this class. Okay, and then say it is level 6. Similarly, if I want to add an additional thing, I want to add the sex, right? I have name, class, and age. I want to add the sex details, right? Say this is a student record. I can add, using the student dict, use the brackets, sex equals male. As you can see here, this is not ordered. Clear? Any questions? Okay. Few methods, right? The pop method removes the item, right? Pop item removes the last inserted item. The del keyword, removes the specified key, right? Clear method empties. You can make a copy, and you can also use the dict to make a new dictionary. This is true in the case of list, tuple, and set as well. Right? What are the methods? We saw clear, copy, get, pop, update, we covered all the major items. But in addition, you will have so many things. Okay. which is why, you start with whatever you have learned and you can always add, right? Think about, how you're going to update, how you're going to manipulate the records, right? That's the way to go about it, right? And as I said, I don't know how many of you are actually trying as and when I'm talking about this, right? I think that's the way to learn. You can see it and you can try it out in the collab, right? And if you have not done it, go ahead and try it. Practice makes a man perfect. Okay. So that's what I wanted to cover. We saw, the four major types of, four types of arrays, right? We saw set, tuple, dictionary, and list, right? Each one has got its characteristic, and we will use it depending on the need. It depends purely on our need, right? So list is, tuple are ordered, set and dictionary are not ordered, right? Whereas only set doesn't have an index. All the other three have got an index. List and tuple allows duplicate, right? Tuple doesn't allow change, right? This is written using square brackets, round brackets, and set and dictionary or curly brackets. Why we are having these different types? We will have different needs to process the data, right? Before we go and identify patterns. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, this is one way, arrays is the starting point. The other two other things that we are going to see here, NumPy and Pandas. Okay. They are better methods, right? And remember what I said, the appropriateness. The examples I showed, right, are explained using simple examples. What you will encounter is, a large data set. Okay. So I encourage you to go and try it. As I said, practice makes a man perfect, right? Nothing like practice. Okay. So that completes this session.